December of 2016, I was walking in the woods of Paradise. It was a beautiful place. It's in Canada, Newfoundland. It's full of snow and pine and the occasional moose. And as I was walking, I came across a stream with no discernible way to cross. I mean, any attempt to do so meant potentially falling in freezing cold water. And trust me, you don't muck around in the winter in Canada. Now, I didn't want to go back. I desperately wanted to push on. I wasn't sure when I'd be back here next, but what to do? What would you do? Before I tell you what I did, I need to take you back. About 12 months prior to standing in front of a freezing cold stream, looking for a way to cross. See, I learned I was going to be a father for the first time. And while this news was awesome, it troubled me. Because when my child was in his or her teens, I'd be in my 60s. And so how would I cope? Would I be able to get down on the floor and play in a meaningful way with a toddler? And where would I be for all of those firsts? The first surf, the first overnight hike, the first rock concert. Whatever it was, if I was going to be the kind of dad that I imagined myself being, that at that time, I needed to do something about my fitness. See, when I was younger, I was an elite gymnast, so I knew what a body could do, but that was 25 years or more ago, and a lot had changed. I was a regular guy with a 9-to-5 job. I had no discernible exercise pastime. I ate and drank as I pleased, and believe it or not, I was growing a healthy pot belly. So I needed to do something about my fitness. So I joined a gym, on the assumption that fitness equals exercise, and exercise, a combination of stationary running and riding and rowing and weights. That's fair enough. But straight away, my reason for being in the gym and the things that I could do there just didn't make sense. The rows of machines, all lined up, looked like ways of organising bodies, and not ways of making mine more versatile and spontaneous. The exercises that I could choose from, the movement patterns I could practice, were all sort of limited and linear and repetitive and predictable. And if my goal was to be this person able to move with and grow with a child, where was the gym class for that? My gym didn't have a place to balance on, or hang or climb or swing, or run and jump and roll in a way that mimics children's play. And when I tried to rearrange the exercise furniture, I just provoked odd looks, which was totally appropriate. As I was struggling with the gym, I also happened upon a book published in 1912, a French book by a man named Georges Hébert. Its abbreviated title in English is The Natural Method. Well, here was an exercise textbook, a physical education program that, despite the old photographs and the novel language, was just contemporary and fresh on a read. It was a fitness program with a motto: be strong, to be useful. You see, for Hébert, fitness was both a personal and a civic duty, that one ought to be strong enough to not only save one's own life, but the life of another person, if needs be, and in any circumstance. It had a methodology where the traditional measures of exercise progress, like weights, reps, distance, time, even physical appearance, weren't the primary objective. The primary goal was to learn a wide range of movement skills, perfect those skills until they became a habit, and then deploy those skills in adult-sized playgrounds or le parcours, obstacle course training. Well, here was a fitness program that just sounded practical and useful. But you don't feel like you're getting that kind of a benefit when you're eyeing yourself off in the mirror doing bicep curls for 30 minutes. And lastly, it had advice. Get out of the gym. Train outdoors as often as possible. So I quit the gym and I applied the method to myself. Amongst my friends, I called it Parkacize, because I'd go out and I'd find parks or any open space that afforded me the opportunity to practice all of the movement categories in the method. Run and sprint, balance and climb and roll and swim and lift and carry and so much more. Pretty soon I realised this wasn't exercise per se. This was movement training, the deliberate and methodical practicing of skills that move my entire body through all that it is capable of. And it was a lot of fun. But more than that, after months of training in the method, I didn't just feel stronger, I certainly felt that. I felt functionally stronger. And that's a very different feeling. So back in paradise, what did I do? Well, off to my right, I saw a fallen pine that appeared to offer a way across the stream, but it certainly carried some risk. It wasn't very large, it didn't feel very stable, it was covered in gnarly branches and ice and snow, and I was out in the woods on my own. But with the natural method skill set in my back pocket, I saw a legitimate movement opportunity. So I took off my gloves, warmed up my hands, and I got on the pine. I crawled for a ways until it felt unsteady, and then I dropped into a straddle. I pulled myself along, getting around the gnarly parts of the tree, till I was far enough along that I could get under the branch and onto the land, onto the other side of the stream. Now, it wasn't very pretty. I had a really wet bum. But it worked. And now maybe it was the rarefied air in paradise, or maybe it was the novelty of pulling something off that was spontaneous in nature. But as I stood on the other side of that stream, and in the stillness of that snowy valley, I actually felt wild. Like the last 12 months of movement training had been this process of rewilding my body. It was this sense that it was amplified because I had a strong feeling that my body and the landscape were communicating. And here was my aha. You see, movement training had given my body this access to this wide range of functional skill. And now the landscape was communicating through its obstacles. And I was only able to respond because I had a body that could read and interpret that language. Now, I found lots of parts in life are a bit like this. Obstacles we encounter, they're actually opportunities for movement. If only we had a body that could see a path. As I walked on through the woods, I hatched a plan. I was not going back to my 9-to-5 desk job anymore. I was going to go home and find a way to share the rewilding process with others. And in so doing, I've learned a great deal about people's movement behaviour. For example, most people train between 1 and 3 days a week for 30 minutes to an hour, choosing any one of a range of very normal exercise pastimes: walking, running, cycling, swimming, the gym, which is wonderful, but its wonder starts to unravel when we count the amount of time between exercise. So for our 3-hour-a-week exerciser, what does that person do for the other 109 waking hours of the week? I mean, you can start to see a problem, right? Our movement via exercise is 3% of our waking week. Our purposeful movement outside of exercise, in an environment that actively promotes sedentary behaviour, movement there is almost optional. It's because of how we work and how we entertain ourselves, how we travel and commute. Not only is our sedentary behaviour and our choice of exercise not giving full expression that all of the human form is capable of, the linear nature of the patterns of movement that we are practicing actively make us less mobile. And most of us make the same assumptions that I made, was that fitness equals exercise. And exercise is confined to a moment in the day, and our choice of exercise is sufficient enough to keep my entire body healthy and mobile. But it's not. I do not think that my body, or your body, or children's growing bodies, that these bodies evolved to navigate the natural landscape built for power and speed and agility and grace. That those bodies were somehow meant to be repurposed to endure a lifetime in one of these. I mean, is that what nature had intended for your body? The body didn't evolve to be domesticated, but somewhere along the way we traded the playground and the outdoors for the sofa. It's time to get back in the playground, and at any age. So in rewilding training, we return to the ground, literally. We learn ground movement patterns. We learn to crawl again, We work our way up off the floor through all of the movement categories in the method, skill by skill. We won't lift weights. We are our weight. We'll lift weighted things. And everything that we learn will be practical and relevant and helpful in life. We built an adult playground to make all of this possible. And while some parts of the rewilding process are a challenge, sure, everybody adapts in time. Hands get tougher, wrists get stronger, shoulders loosen. We learn the movement patterns, we trust our bodies again. We grow confident in our abilities physically and mentally, until at some point, our bodies and the objects in our world start to communicate. And so we see a machinist who navigates confined crawl spaces, doing so mindfully, swearing that he's avoiding a workplace injury in the process. A firefighter running up a wall without a ladder. Seniors who have an option if they fall over, they could roll. And parents joining their kids in the playground, on the swings and down the slides. And almost everybody has joined me in the woods, where movement training is a joy, where the skills that we learn indoors are let loose outdoors, and the place that I think at least was our first fitness instructor in nature. So here's a few rewilding tips to get you started. Start anywhere, your living room floor, your backyard, your local park. You will not need a gym. Get down on all fours and crawl around. Relax, roll over, pretend you're a wombat. Go and climb something. Walk everywhere, but walk uphill and downhill and on uneven surfaces, in sand, along limestone walls and over logs. And if you must use the footpath, dodge the cracks occasionally like you ate. Exercise in gyms, for sure. But get out of the idea that fitness equals exercise. And start finding ways to move your entire body throughout the entire day. From reaching up high, to bending down low with good form to gather things up, to stepping over objects and balancing on one leg. Movement opportunities are everywhere. And don't find yourself sitting for large periods of time, ever, after today. Just, today is a day of rest and ideas. You see, I've come to understand that learning a wide range of functional movement skills that give full expression to all that my body is capable of is fundamentally important to the longevity and enjoyment of your life. And trust me, your precious ability to move your body how and when you want it to will never be more appreciated when that ability is gone or in decline. Through the lens of rewilding, I understand that freedom is not just an intellectual idea, it's a physical experience. And if we spend a little bit of time purposefully moving our bodies in ways that expand our reach, then where we can go is liberating. And maybe it all comes down for you to answer this question for yourself. What is your body fit for? Because fitness is not just exercise. Fitness is also fit for a purpose. And now I found my purpose in a desire to meet my son where he would start life, on the floor. And it seems that with this place as my starting point for fitness, I've never been more mobile in my adult years. So move with a purpose. Be strong to be useful. And move like your lives depend on it, because they do. Thank you.